Hello and welcome to another edition of Knickerbocker Banter. I'm your host, as always, Harris Wishart, and today we have the first ever Kidcast, Gavin Linde, joining us on the program. No one has ever been more excited to come on. How you doing today, bud?
I'm good. Uh, let's go Knicks. Very excited to be on this podcast.
Mm,
Super happy.
mm.
Big Knicks fan. Um, so excited.
Well, I'll tell you this, Gavin. Everyone's been making fun of me or telling me every time I do an episode to get something in the background, right? Put a banner up.
Yeah.
And every time I put something up, I'm not exactly sure how I like it. So I end up taking it down. But if you guys could see, he's got the foam finger behind him. He's got a all-star, which looks like replica basketball, right? You got that's an actual basketball hoop in your
Yep,
room,
right there.
a basketball hoop in the room. So, and then you obviously got your gear on. So
Yeah.
there is no doubt that you are an absolute fanatic. And every time I talk to you, whether I see you at a practice or I see you and your dad at a tournament, I feel like I'm having a conversation with my younger self. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool, man. It really is. I knew you were right for the show when you started talking to me about the G League and you started to talk to me about Ariel Hukporti, and you really do know your stuff, man. So when, like I ask everybody else that comes on, at what moment, I know you're the youngest to come on so far, so you don't have as much life experience, but it's been a few years since you've been a super fan, but when did that moment start where you really got into this?
It's all started in like 2021 when I went to a Knicks game
Mm-hmm.
and I stayed all 4 quarters because before that I would always say like, "Dad, my head hurts. I don't feel good. Can I go home?" And we would always go home. But then I started like staying to the fourth quarter, like more and more time into the fourth quarter. And then at one point I just stayed until the horns went off. So I was happy and I was surprised that I even like got through the whole game. I was older obviously than the other games because I went in 2017 and 2018 when Alonzo Trier was on the team. I have some pictures of him.
Shout out to Alonzo Trier, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so I just started saying till the fourth quarter, and in 2022, I just started looking at all the rosters and the Knicks, and every day I would see if they got someone new, and it just came to the point where I just started loving them, and I would go to the games a lot, and I would see the players, talk to them with Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein was very nice.
Mm.
And then in 2023, I loved the Knicks. So I started looking at everything for the Knicks. I loved the team. I'd watch the playoffs. I would watch every game. And I went to a playoff game and the atmosphere was crazy. And like on the TV, you can't really hear it because you're just watching it and the atmosphere was crazy. Especially when um Brunson made that 3-pointer, but then Tyrese Maxey made that half-court shot.
Oh,
We lost the
you're
game.
bringing back some bad memories
Yeah.
out that game.
We lost that game. It was still a crazy game. I loved it. And I went to the Cavaliers game the year before that. We won the game, and everyone was going crazy. And I saw Spider-Man out there in the Knicks flag, people jumping on the cars. That was when the Knicks fans started going bonkers. So it's all like Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein. All those guys are just going crazy, and the Knicks were like starting to get like noticed. And before that, we weren't even as close like as a team. But in 2021, when we made the playoffs versus the Hawks, that was hard for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Jalen Brunson. Everyone thought he was gonna be bust, but over time, he just
Talk
he
to him, man.
got so good. And then now you see the reviews like last year it said Jalen Brunson potential MVP, Jalen Brunson All-Star, Jalen Brunson every MVP chance in the Garden. Like that's crazy. And with this team is like amazing. And we're like everyone can just say the Knicks are that good, the Knicks aren't gonna do this, the Knicks aren't gonna do that. We're only like some games in.
You said it before, right? a quarter of the way in, right?
Yeah, we're only a quarter of the way in. We gotta try to make the finals. The finals is what matters the most.
Not the
Not
top.
not the top.
You want the whole thing, right? You want the whole thing.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you this: as you were talking, I get chills because I think about when I was 9 or 10, and my dad took me to to MSG, and I had always loved basketball. But you mentioned the word atmosphere,
yeah.
and when I saw, the Larry Johnson 4-point play game,
Oh, that was crazy.
you've seen the highlights, right? I was at that game,
Yep.
pretty much around your age, right? 9, 10, 11, and it just made me want to go back in my driveway and shoot. That feeling of just, wow, this is incredible. Maybe that could be me. And, it wasn't. I got to play, but not everyone goes the distance, but
Yeah.
it was just really fun at the time. And I have those great memories. And now you're going to be able to make those memories with your dad. Your dad's a great guy. I love talking with him too.
Yeah.
And that's really special. I've sat in those seats that you guys have. It's an unbelievable experience. So the kid in me comes out. I try not to grow up when it comes to basketball. It's a kid's game. Adults try to complicate it, and it's just it is. It's great to think about those times, and now you're gonna get to go through that,
Yeah.
and it's awesome that it's gonna be a good team, right? Like after the '90s, we went through a lot of tough years, and you probably know the history of the team in the early 2000s, and through my high school and college days, the team wasn't good.
No.
So now you get a really good team to watch, a team that plays the right way. So you got a lot of fun games ahead of you, man. You really do.
Yeah. Especially the playoffs. The Garden's gonna be crazy this year. I know it. I feel it. The Garden's gonna be crazy. By the first game versus Indiana, the home opener this year, I was there. Everyone was going crazy. The whole Garden, like in the first play, they were going crazy after the first bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like just like you're back home. You're back. It's like now we're playing. We're going crazy again.
Well, when you have a passion for something like you clearly do at basketball, anybody that's listening to the first 5 minutes, this knows where your trajectory is in terms of what kind of fan you are, and you only get smarter with time. But when you're so passionate about it and you love it so much, it's easier to learn and you want to learn more. Like you just said, I want to stay up late. I want to go get stats. And I was the same way. My dad tells me stories about how anytime we were at a wedding or a family function, I was going around telling people the whole Knicks lineup, at 6 or 7, 8 years old. So that's kind of what I see in you, man. This was a no-brainer. And I love that excitement. I love the optimism. And I really hope this team delivers for all the young fans, for all of us who have been waiting a long time, but for especially the young kids that, that appreciate this team and are starting to fall in love with basketball.
Yeah. We made it far. We made it very far. The team has developed way and way more. We had like Reggie Bullock in our starting five, and that went to Jalen Brunson and Carl Anthony Towns. We have two All-Stars.
Those guys are pretty good, right?
Starting five. Yeah.
Those guys are pretty good.
Um.
Well, can you tell me about some of your interactions with guys and maybe your favorite memories so far? You've touched on a couple of them, but I flipped on my TV one day. It's a true story. And this is when I think I had coached you for maybe a game or two at this point. So I knew you, but I didn't know you as well as I do now. And I flicked on my TV and I didn't even know you guys had the tickets or you had went to a lot of games. And I said, that's gotta be Gavin right there. And Jokic was walking out of the tunnel. I think he was hurt or going back to the locker room.
He hurt his eye.
And I took the picture and I sent it to your dad because we had talked a little bit. And he goes, haha, I've gotten this picture from like 7 people already. So
Yeah, me too.
that's gotta be a cool feeling.
Yeah.
You've been on TV. Yeah, you've been on TV a couple of times. I'm sure you don't take that for granted, but you've had some really cool interactions. Could you speak on some of the guys? I know the hat is signed by a bunch of people you were telling me before, but what's it been like to be up close and personal?
So
What are the experiences like with that?
it just feels like you're part of the team when you're that close, and players are running out of the tunnel when you're high-fiving them. You get to have more of an interaction, and it just feels like you're almost on the court and watching the game. And watching the game is just amazing with the fans at the Garden, they're crazy. And just the games are so exciting because every game means something to all of our fans. Every game has a meaning to it. Any game, any random team, we would be going crazy. We would have chants. And it's just like a different experience when you're sitting at that point where the players are at the tunnel. If it's an opposing team's player when they're walking out, the Knicks, just when they come out, is really cool because you get to high five them, and some players are really nice and they like say what's up, and they walk by you and high five you, and it's just a big interaction with the players, and it's the place is crazy, and when we chant so much, the players are happy. There's a lot of pressure on the other team. That's what caused them to lose the ball. And it feels like I'm part of the whole entire Garden, and I'm chanting with them. It's just so
You feel part of it, and I know you touched on this. We spoke a little bit the other day about the bench and learning the game. You hear some of the dialogue, you hear some of what the guys are saying, the coaches are saying. It gives you an opportunity to be a part of the action, which is really cool, right? And you get that type of feel for what guys are saying on screens. And I know your basketball IQ is pretty high already, but to be able to understand and get that NBA action in front of you like that has got to be really cool too.
Yeah, it's such a cool interaction with the players. It just feels like you're part of the whole entire thing. So cool chanting with the fans because
You're a big chanter, huh?
love them.
You're a big chanter, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't get involved with the other chants. When so well it beat. They get that shit.
PG. It's the PG.
Yes. Like the Brunson.
Exactly. Speaking of the villain, because we obviously got to touch on this for a second. What are your feelings on what was going on yesterday with our friend Mr. Trae Young? Do you have anything to say about that?
I don't like him.
It's
Prove it off.
yeah.
I don't like him.
It's that simple, right?
Yeah. I think the Bucks are gonna beat him.
Well, yeah, I think so too, but the best revenge is always winning. I know a lot of Knicks fans wanted someone on the team to step up to him. Me personally, yeah, whatever. You want to say something to the guy, great.
Yeah.
You don't need to knock him on his butt. The Embiid stuff last year's the same thing. People wanted the Knicks to retaliate in a certain way. They wanted someone to go hurt him or whatever. To me, it's just go win the game. You could say what you want. You could have, there are going to be some vocal altercations.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm at the game, they're screaming no, you're horrible. I don't understand that. I believe some people if you can't do what they're doing, you can't be talking to them like that.
Wow,
That's some people.
That's some good insight. You should probably continue on that thought.
Yeah. You gotta it's only Joel Embiid hurt Mitchell Robinson. I didn't understand that. That was not a smart move by him. Not as he shouldn't be doing that to other people. He hurt him twice. One time he fouled and then he hurt Brunson. He pushed Brunson and he held Mitchell Robinson's ankle, and now Mitchell Robinson's missing a lot of the games.
Yeah, it hasn't been the same.
Yeah, he's got injured twice that season. I feel bad. He keeps getting injured.
You brought up Robinson, which leads me into the point I wanted to make about why the Knicks lost that game to the Hawks.
Yeah.
When you're trying to make a comeback like the Knicks were, and you can't get a defensive rebound, and your best rebounder, Karl Anthony Towns, in foul trouble, is where Mitch Robinson is the most valuable. He does two things very well, right? And this is why Knicks fans really want him back. He is a great rebounder, as you know, right? And he protects the rim well.
Yeah. course.
So, yeah, he's a great rim protector. So, hopefully Robinson is back soon. You mentioned about his health. And the Knicks took a tough loss in the cup. But we are not so much concerned about the cup, as we said. We want
Yeah.
the whole thing. And
Yeah, we want the finals.
exactly. I listen, I was frustrated. I think you're allowed to me. Can you tell me how you feel about this and how you react to games? Because as a young person, I was very emotional. I was very frustrated. There'd be times where I would lose sleep over certain games where I probably shouldn't have. But when you have to have the ability to, and it's hard, I think, sometimes, but all right, the game, I'm upset about this game. I'm frustrated, but I'm not going to overreact.
No.
I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to turn the page and we're going to look forward to the next game, especially when the season has so much time. I know there are certain things the Knicks have to fix. I know there are certain things they need to get better with, but since Tibbs has been here, since Brunson's been here, I have confidence that they will begin to figure it out. I think you do too, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, a lot of people say stuff about the Knicks. Leon Rose, he's been there. Just let Leon Rose do his thing.
Wait, let Leon Rose cook, the kids say, right? Let him cook?
Yeah. Let Leon cook.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. And I know how bad you want to see the team do well, but because when I talked to you and your dad, I was fascinated with the memorabilia. You got your dad's into it. Now you're into it. You bring your cards to the game. What is so exciting for you, and why is that something that you love to do right now with cards or you're collecting other, that could be a jersey, that could be a card. I mean, why is that something that you've been interested in?
Um, First it builds your interactions with the players,
Mm.
and you get to like take pictures with them. It's also like meeting the players. It's so cool, and like saying, uh, Jalen Brunson, I got Jalen Brunson's autograph at the game. Like, you'll be super excited. I'm super excited whenever I see the players. I love getting my cards signed. I love the memorabilia because I'm also a sports card collector and a huge Knicks fan.
Sport card collector?
Yeah,
Like that.
I'm a big card collector.
So who would you say right now are your favorite cards that you got? You have them on you?
Yep. All right. So I could show some.
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
So we have this Josh. I didn't get this signed, but Josh Hart.
Got a
Yeah.
Josh Hart card there.
Oh.
Is he wearing the Marquette jersey on there?
Yeah, there's no Knicks cards of him yet. Only like the Panini Instant, but I didn't get those. McCall.
There. Nice.
We got a Matt Ryan.
That's pretty sweet.
Matt Ryan.
Which ones did you have so far? Let's talk about which ones have you had the players sign, like this season or last season?
These two Brunsons.
He signed these. He signed these in person with you?
Yeah, it's very hard to get Brunson because he has like a bodyguard on him because the fans are surrounding him. So I have Deuce, I have Cat, and I'll show Cat. I have
That's pretty cool.
Cat.
Cat signed that one for you, right?
Yeah, Cat is very nice. Cat will sign everything. I have Jacob Toppin,
Good job, Cat.
Ashua, McBride, all those players. I try to get
Awesome.
them off time. Yeah.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you have no intention of stopping doing that, that you want to continue to build your collection.
Yeah, I'll be doing it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, when I was down there, I did notice that a few kids had, cards, and that's something that's really growing and becoming more popular. So, do you have, switching gears and got a few minutes left with Gavin, if this doesn't excite you as a fan, just seeing the young generation, that's why I wanted to do it and get kids that really love the Knicks. That's why I want to do this, and you've been great, man. You really have. People are going to be really impressed with, your knowledge and, how you approach the game, and we haven't really talked about this much. Pretty good player too. Pretty good player, man, and
Thank you.
you could really shoot the ball as well. So,
Yeah.
you got a bright future ahead of you for sure. There's no doubt about that, and I'm excited to watch you grow as a player. But do you have one moment that sticks out? I know you talked about the playoffs, Is it a Brunson big game? Is it, is it beaten? You talked about, I think, being at the Cavs game they won and being outside the
Yeah.
Garden. Is there one moment that sticks out? Or maybe meeting a favorite player? Is there something that you've enjoyed the most so far in your Knick fandom?
I love when after we win a playoff game, how they go outside and they go crazy with Spider-Man and the Knicks flag and Spider-Man's doing flips. It's the microphone, of course, with the guy.
The sidewalk talk?
Yeah, yes, the microphones when they're going crazy out there and they're chanting. And when they take over other arenas, that's my favorite. When they go to different arenas and just start chanting, "Let's go Knicks!" Like that shows that the Knicks fans, like, we have no fear. Like we are the ones controlling this place. Like that boosts the Knicks. Like it feels like they're home. It feels like they're home, and it makes them less like nervous that they're like, oh, I'm gonna miss the shot. Like less pressure that they're home, and I just love how they take over the arena. And after the Philadelphia win, Philadelphia had to buy $200,000 from the Knicks fans couldn't come in, which makes me very happy because that shows that the Knicks love the Knicks take over every arena that they go to. The Knicks. Oh my God, the chants were going crazy, and in Brooklyn.
You love when the Knick fans travel. You love that. You love when they show.
It shows that we're like we're here, we're taking over.
Absolutely. And you know what? The Knicks are here. And Amari Stoudemire, you know who this is.
Yep, of course.
He famously said in 2010 when he got here that the Knicks are back. And they had some moments, right? They made the playoffs. They didn't really make a push. We haven't made that push yet. Gavin, we haven't gone into the conference finals. We haven't gone to the finals. But if I were you, based off my experience so far, continue to chant, continue to go outside the Garden. Don't apologize for celebrating, even if it's a first round playoff game. Because when I went outside last year and I was in that environment screaming my head off and having a good time, it was one of my favorite moments ever as a fan because we waited so long for it. We celebrate it now. We haven't got the championship yet. We'll still keep fighting for that. We still want that, but keep doing that. Keep having a good optimistic attitude. Keep seeing the glass half full. And I promise you eventually, well, can't make any promises, but eventually they will raise that Larry O'Brien trophy. And hopefully within the next few years when we have these guys. But you were awesome, man. You were awesome. I can't wait for people to see this. Be in touch, share the page, talk it up to everybody. I know everyone is going to love seeing you, man. They are. They're going to love seeing your clips, and we'll post a couple of those. But this is really awesome, and it was exactly what I thought it would be. You definitely impressed me, and knowing stats and knowing G League guys, and keep that up, man. That the game is fun, and like I said before, adults try to complicate a kid's game. So keep playing, keep hooping, and you will use this word a few times. Keep chanting. We need that. We need that, man.
Never stop.
Of course, man. So listen, we'll have you on again at some point. All right. You were the first one ever, right? We'll look back one day because we'll have this on tape forever. We'll look back one day and say this was the first Kidcaster on Knickerbocker Banter. But Gavin, this was awesome. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy this season. Enjoy this team. Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks.